morning. Good morning, everybody. Early birds. Monday morning. Good to see you. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. That'd be me. And while we wait for people to wake up and chime in, drink it if you got it. Does coffee taste better on Monday morning, or is it my imagination? One more. Indulge me. Had enough music? I like that music. All right. Okay, here we are. Another week. A big week. A holiday week. Very important holiday this week. A holiday that seems to have gained tremendous national significance and personal importance to all of us. It's a holiday that we hear about for months in advance, so we can anticipate it, and we can get ready for it because of its importance and significance, not only in our lives today, but in our history. The holiday, of course, that I'm speaking of is Black Friday. Yes, I'm being sarcastic, but over the past 2 months, I have heard nothing about Thanksgiving, but I've heard everything about Black Friday. So that shows you where our heads are at these days. At any rate, no, it's Thanksgiving week. I did my little tribute to it yesterday. But I couldn't help that. I couldn't help it this morning but comment about the absurdity. Kind of like Christmas. People forget the actual significance of the holiday itself and focus on the excuse for a sale. I guess that's the world we live in. Oh, rigorous last resort. Holidays are a pain in the ass. They disrupt everything. But I like holidays. Holidays are okay. Well, good to see you all. Good to see you here on this Black Friday week, Thanksgiving week, and I know I'm going out to the park/campgrounds where my son and his family always spend Thanksgiving, and we have Thanksgiving dinner in the woods, just like the Pilgrims did. The deer come, because it's protected, the deer come right up to us and eat corn right out of your hand. And like so many, I will probably contribute in feeding the deer this poisonous food that they were never meant to eat, being ruminant animals that they are. Kind of like brick feeding the ducks. I'm not wearing my sarcastic t-shirt this morning, but maybe I should have. First, I said last night. First in at 5:38, Mary M. And followed up closely by Jerry Hall says, Mary, you got me. Tuka chimed in and said hello. Hey, folks, Mitch and folks, see you later. Donna Ray. Donna Ray has a dental appointment this morning, but maybe she'll be listening to us on the radio on the way. And the first one in this morning was Lady June from UK at 1:18 a.m. early morning their time. Jem is here in the middle of the night. Hi, Jem. Great walk and talk video. See you in the morning. Yeah, Jem was in here at 2-something in the morning. And here Mike Seeley from Tampa chimed in this morning at 4:43 a.m. up and early. Also, Wayne Herman chimed in from Lake Gaston, North Carolina, and Mike Seeley's Senior from here in Melbourne. Hi, Michael. Good to see you. 7:32, Sandy Blythe chimed in. I said hello. Michael Payne at 8:31. Richard Williams. Williams is here early. Hi, Richard. How you doing? And Francine Bourgeois from Montreal. Good to see you, Francine. How you doing? Lucy Work chimed in. Hi, Lucy. And who's this? Loretta. Hi, Loretta. Good morning. Happy Monday to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Andy Carnivore. Drinking my coffee now before I head to work. Well, have a nice day. It is Monday. Kathy's here. That's Pond Apple, a.k.a. Florida. Great walk yesterday. Mitch and Rick chimed in and said hello, and he's out there working in his garden, cultivating all that duck food. Now this one we have to get used to again because YouTube again changed the name using the evidently the login name as opposed to the channel name. For those of you that don't recognize that, look at the avatar. That is Captain America. Steve Rogers from Kansas City, Missouri. Hi, Steve. It may say Steve Rogers, but you'll always be Captain America to me. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Mary M. chimed in this morning. And we're sneaking up on 9 o'clock yet. Tammy. Hi, Tammy. How you doing? Good to see you. And Lori is here. Hi, Lori. How you doing, sweetie? And Rick invented a new word here for us this morning, Gardeb. And his is very important. I think you meant to say garden, but that's okay. Less junk, more health. How you doing? Good morning, Mitch. Good morning, everyone. From the beautiful Space Coast of Florida. Yes. Evidently a neighbor of mine. I'm on the beautiful Space Coast as well, about 20-some miles south of the Cape. We at 9 o'clock yet. Larry Ryan. Hi, Larry. Good morning to you. And who's this? Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie. Good to see you. And Kathy again. You're talking about Rick's Gardeb. Cool. All right. Who is this? MT2M Games. If you're somebody that, tell us what your name used to be if you're not new. Lady June, how you doing? And the winner this morning and back in the saddle again. Back in the saddle again is Lambs. Hi, Lambs. How you doing? Good morning / afternoon, everyone. And Edward Renner's here. Lori Weitzel's here. Marla Kelly's here. Gotta get used to... put the names back, YouTube, to some things I recognize. And this is Brenda McIntyre. Hiya, Brenda. How you doing? Don't let your meat loaf, she says. Always Always good advice. Mary Beth, good morning. Good morning. And who haven't I said? Thomas is here. Hi, Thomas. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Ruger's Last Resort. Hello from Arizona. I don't recognize that handle, but welcome. Welcome. Glad you're here. Anybody watch Kelsey this morning? Anybody? Did he mention me at all? If he did, let me know. I'd be curious. I seem to always get a report when Kilt says hello to me on his live stream. I was busy. I didn't get a chance to watch it this morning. I'm enjoying this. Going to bed later and maybe sleeping a little later in the morning with this new schedule. I was, however, up this morning for it, but I was busy doing some other work. Tammy Dean. Yes, y'all talked, he said. Okay, good. I'm glad he mentioned that. We had a fabulous conversation yesterday, Kiltz and I. We talked for, I would guess, at least 45 minutes. And I called him, and he answered like on the first string. We had a great talk. And as different as most people think we are, we're actually not at all. We just have different ways of expressing it. So all's well in paradise, and I am looking forward to going to the meetup when he has it, which evidently is going to be kind of like last year. He's having the barbecue at his house, and then the actual meetup itself is going to be, I imagine, I haven't talked too much about the details because I think they're still setting the agenda for it. But it was a great event last year. The only one thing I hope comes out differently this year is that 2 weeks after I get back from it, I don't have another stroke, because that made last year very memorable for me. But I'm going to be there, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. I don't know if Kelsey's here, but if you're here watching this morning, and I know it's kind of late for you, it was easier for you to jump in at 7 than wait around till 9. But if you're watching, I really did enjoy the conversation we had yesterday. Tammy Dean, good morning to you. If you got any questions for me, put the QQQs in the chat. If you got anything you want to talk about, I'm going to try to keep these morning things to an hour. I think that's more than enough. And meanwhile, I'll just go down and chat. Gary, no slow. How you doing, Gary? Good morning to you. Good to see you. We had Gary in the panel on Thursday night. It was nice to see him there. Where's Peter? Peter's still sick? Loretta, coffee tastes better with Mitch. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Appreciate that. And Mama Bear, good morning to you. Good morning. How you doing? Oh, okay, another one of these names. Oh, thank God. BK Belgian Carnivore. How are you, my friends? Good to see you this morning. And this is Boston Danny, otherwise known as Danny in Boston. Okay, I see what they're doing now. You have a YouTube login name, which is usually the same as your Gmail address. And then you have a channel name. They're actually using the login name where they used to use the channel name. All very confusing to those of us who finally put together who is who. And actually tried to read these things and remember people's first names, it's not going to make any difference for anybody out there that doesn't really read the chat or the comments. That's Lizzie, okay, and Terry P. Hello, everyone. Hi, Terry. How are you? It's Jerry, Carnivore Jerry. Hi, Jerry. How you doing? Good to see you. Oh, this is like a puzzle. Now, that's where I was talking about Black Friday. Sandy. Hiya, Sandy. Sandy Blythe says, thumbs up, please. I'll second that. I'll second that. And I'll look for some questions or something to talk about. I tried something yesterday. I didn't make a video out of it, but I might do it again. I'll let you know how it came out. But over the past couple of weeks, I have gotten a couple of these rotisserie chickens from Sam's Club. Yeah, I know they're a little bit dirty. They got maybe a little seed oil they rubbed on them and probably some spices, but for all intents and purposes, they're fine. They're fine. That's one of the things Kelsey and I talked about yesterday, is how over the top everybody takes eating tiny quantities of these things that we say you shouldn't eat them every day. You shouldn't eat a lot of it, but if you eat a little bit of it, it's not going to hurt, as long as it doesn't lead to doing it every day, all day. That's the key. So over the past year or so, I kind of relaxed my stance on these things, and I don't think it's hurt me any, and I don't think it will ever hurt me any. And if you look around you and you look at the reality of it, you find many average people who eat tons of this shit still manage to live into their 90s and somehow maintain okay health. And usually it's the people that just eat way too much of this stuff that suffer, because we've eaten this stuff. We've seasoned our food. Seed oils and Crisco, they basically came around in the early 1900s. Crisco was invented in 1911. So all the time, up through World War I, World War II, the baby boomers, which was me, my early years and the rest of my generation, up until the 60s and 70s, people lived a normal life. They seasoned their foods. They buttered their bread with margarine. They did all that stuff. And yet, if you look at, they weren't overweight. They weren't diabetic. Then the rates of heart disease were almost unheard of. Well, that's got to tell you that small amounts of that stuff are not going to lead to the terrible health we have today. It's the massive amounts of sugar that we eat, the overindulgence in highly oxidative foods that our body can't handle, that lead to this crisis today. I feel about addiction. It plays a big role in it, but a small amount. So I said, why not? I'm going to get one of those little rotisserie chickens. And it was terrific. I got like 3 or 4 meals out of this stupid thing, and I was left over with this carcass with all that good collagen and meat left stuck in places. So I put it in a bag and put it in the freezer. Then a week later, I got another one of those chickens, and I did the same thing. So I had 2 of those big carcasses frozen in the freezer, and I said, time for some soup. So I got out the slow cooker yesterday, And I put both of those frozen carcasses in it, and I filled it up almost with water to the top. I didn't put any chicken stock or anything like that. I put a little bit of smoked sea salt in there, a little black pepper, and I slow cooked it all day. Well, the bones pretty much fell apart. I let it cool down enough to handle the crock pot. And last night, I put a strainer into a big Tupperware thing, and I ladled out quite a bit of it through the strainer, and then I took the whole crock pot thing and poured everything that was left in the strainer, including... So what was left in the strainer was a whole pile of small bones and pieces of meat. And I put that in a separate container, put it in the fridge, and then I put the actual broth in the big Tupperware container and put it in the fridge. And I'm going to deal with that today. And what I'm going to do is, I know it's tedious, but I'm going to actually spend some time picking the meat out of that big pile of stuff that I got came off those two carcasses. But I tasted the broth itself. And my God, it was delicious. And it's bone broth. It's not, and if I had some beef bones, I would have thrown them in there too. But just the chicken bones, the flavor with nothing but salt and a little pepper came out terrific. I slow cooked it for at least 8 hours, and I got enough soup there for 4 meals. And I have a couple of, basically for free, a couple of chicken carcasses after I got done devouring them and destroying them. So I'll make a video about that next time I do it, but I wanted to try it once to make sure I got it right and got the seasoning right and everything. But it really was a surprise. It really came out good. And, you know, we're always looking for something a little different. And what I would do is I use, like, pork rinds as croutons with these soups that I make. And it's just great to throw some of those in there. Adds a little crunch to it. And it's something that you could have kind of as an appetizer with a meal. I don't like to snack, but if you eat it while you're eating a meal, why not? Why not? Jem says, Mitch, liked your walk and talk yesterday. Doing great. Yeah, that was I have to start pushing myself to do that every day. Every day. I started last week back on the orthopod, the thing that I hang upside down on, because I noticed that just the inactivity that I've had has caused my back to start hurting a little bit. And when I do that orthopod, my back doesn't hurt. Another thing I do on that orthopod is as I'm laying over it, I do back extensions. I lift my back up like this. And I did 20 of those this morning. And then when you hang upside down, you can do curls too. Inverse curls. It doesn't load up your spine. And I did 20 of them and hang for a minute or two to stretch things out, let the spinal fluids get in between the vertebrae to lubricate things. And after only 3 days in a row of doing that, it has completely straightened my back out where there's no pain anymore. And I just have to... I used to do it a lot, but because of the stroke and the fact that hanging upside down, I was worried about maybe I shouldn't raise the blood pressure in my head any more than I need to. I was a little hesitant to do that, but I have to do that, just not for a long time, and do it for my back, because that helps me walking and everything else. Terry says, Old Guy Carnivore, this is the perfect season to get out and walk, since it is not all hot and humid for a while. A winter jump start, so you can do the beach if it's next year, yeah. Walking in the sand is going to be something I'm going to have to deal with because it's just walking on nice level concrete is a balance issue right now. So that's where I am. Sandy Bly says, so I've been hearing you and Kilt's talk yesterday. Yeah, and he's been very, very busy. And I was just thinking about him. I watched his Sunday solo stream yesterday, and he shouted me out a number of times, and I said, I'm going to give him a call. Hell with it. I can't wait for him to keep. He's so busy. I'm sitting here doing nothing. So I gave him a call. Like I said, he answered on the first ring. First question on my mouth was, you still love me? We took it from there. So, now, I have a lot of respect for the guy. Just like people have respect for people, they don't agree with everything, but nobody can have exactly the same view on everything. But I think on the things that are important, we're lockstep. So I'm glad that we had that talk yesterday. Really glad. Aaron joined us on Thursday night. Or Saturday morning, was it? No, it was Saturday morning. Not Thursday night. Saturday morning, Aaron joined us in the panel. It was kind of kiddie day. Saturday morning. John, together strong. Okay, John. Morning, everyone, he says. Twyla's here. Hi, Mitch from Ocean Park, Washington. Good to see you. Good to see you. Mary Beth is here. Hi, Mary Beth. How are you? God, I'm only up to 9:09 in the chat. I better start making some time through here. Well, you used your name as your channel name, but probably with a space in between, whereas your login is just all one word. Because mine was exactly the same. Mine was stayed Old Guy Carnivore, no matter where I look at it. Carnivore Jerry has a question, I see. Carnivore Jerry. 8 multiple Qs. Mitch, when was the last time you took antibiotics? And what did you personally do to heal your gut after taking said antibiotics? Thank you. That's a great question. Because that's one thing that, you know, when you take antibiotics, it's just usually general purpose, and it's just carpet bombs all the bacteria, including the good bacteria that you want and need, especially in your gut, your microbiome. I can't remember the last time I took any antibiotics. I would have to be probably running some kind of fever. And I haven't run a fever in years and years and years. And I don't believe in the philosophy that no matter what happens, these doctors always prescribe a Z-Pack or an antibiotic. If I went to the dentist and I had an abscess, I'd probably take an antibiotic. If I had something that was so infected it wouldn't heal on its own, I'd probably take. But I haven't had that. I haven't had that problem. A lot of people tell you to take probiotics or prebiotics, or if there is such a thing, postbiotics. But I have my own views about the microbiome. I share them with a lot of people. I didn't invent these views, but I believe that the microbiome and the populations that make it up are a function of the food supply and what you eat, because you're going to starve out the ones that you're not eating for. So the bacteria that process all this fiber and sugar and turn it into free fatty acids, that's what happens in a cow's hindgut. And they turn sugar into meat and fat. If you're not eating sugar, you will starve out that particular strain. And because everybody eats sugar, the medical community thinks that you have to have that strain of bacteria. So when you take probiotics, you're taking basically the population of gut bacteria that the medical community thinks is normal for a human being, because they think it's normal for all human beings, and recommend that they eat nothing but sugar, fruit, fiber, whole grains, starches, everything but meat and fat. So when you eat just meat and fat, this is why somebody going carnivore usually has some real bathroom adventures for the first couple weeks. You are starving the gut bacteria that the powers that be tell you are the good bacteria, and probably feeding some of the ones that they tell you are not that good, but we find out on carnivore, ironically, we find out that those of us that had digestive issues all our lives, like me, constantly constipated, bloated, developed, I used to have such gas. I used to get so blocked up. I used to have to take laxatives all the time. Things just level out. You become regular. Not every day, sometimes not every 3 or 4 days, but no problems, no discomfort, no bloating. It gave me diverticulosis, which I'm lucky I never had a flare of diverticulitis, which is what happens when you develop an infection, an inflammation in that diverticuli, little outpouching, from being bloated, having all that pressure in your intestines all the time. It's like an intestinal aneurysm, only it's not blood that's pushing the wall out. It's all the constipation and congestion. So this whole thing and all the advice about healthy microbiome and all this advice that you need to take these probiotics and prebiotics and this biotic and that biotic, and you need to eat yogurt because it's got natural cultures in it, and you need to... My take on it all is that it's not our job to take attendance in our gut every morning, like they do in a classroom, to see if we've got the right mic. How the hell did our ancestors know anything about this? Somehow we managed to live without paying any attention to it. We ate what we ate, and our bodies did what they did, and we were healthy. But we didn't get many YouTube clicks back then. We didn't sell many products. We didn't make a lot of money on it. We didn't generate all these things that we need to be aware of so that the commerce would flow. We just ate what we knew we were supposed to eat, which basically was what was there. The selection we had was not all that great. We didn't have 31 flavors of Baskin-Robbins to choose from. And when the caveman came home, or even your great-great-great-grandmother came home, or grandfather came home and said to your great-great-great-grandmother, "What's for dinner?" They had a choice of a couple of things. Well, we had a cow, we had a chicken, we got, and in the general store, they didn't have 31 flavors of Baskin-Robbins. We've done it to ourselves, so we've had to make concerns so that we could market things to people to answer all the questions, which is, I know this question started out with microbiotics, but that is exactly one of those scenarios. They have us all asking about how do we deal with our gut bacteria when it's not our job. Now, yes, maybe you have to, but they didn't have antibiotics back then either to kill off all the gut bacteria. But we've invented all this, and I keep fighting and fighting and fighting to try to eliminate all these concerns and make your diet simple. And do what I did yesterday. Take a couple chicken carcasses, throw them in a slow cooker, fill it full of water, little salt and pepper, and make yourself some real food. Some real food. And then you don't have to worry about that stuff. And chances are you might not get sick and have to take those antibiotics, which will blast all those good bacteria. But I think no matter what you're doing, even if you did nothing after a course of antibiotics, just start eating the right foods. Start eating the right foods, and the right bacteria will repopulate your gut. Long answer. Long answer. To a short question. I got a little chance to pontificate this morning. I'll bet it was helpful. And maybe people don't agree with me. But I have tremendous faith that the ancient programming in the physiology that regulates all this fabulous organic machinery that we have somehow is doing it right, or none of us would be here. We're living proof that every one of our ancestors was a survivor, at least survived long enough to reproduce, which, if you think about it in nature, that's all nature cares about. Nature doesn't care about me as an old fart. Nature's got no use for me. My use in nature pretty well ended when I had children. I have some use in guiding my children, maybe, if they listen to me. But basically, that's the meaning of life, is to perpetuate it. We try to give it much deeper meaning. None of that stuff means a thing when it comes to life. Michael Payne says, Dr. Jamnadas, oh, I love him. I think he's terrific. He's right here in Central Florida, too. I think he's terrific. He says, if it doesn't come from the earth, it isn't food. Well, everything comes from the earth and is returned, except the energy that hits us from the sun. And I know I don't like to talk about it, and Kelsey always says he's going to, we want to be the best fertilizer we can be, and I think that's a realistic approach. Is that the old ashes to ashes and dust to dust was a pretty good observation. And that another person said that no matter who or what you are, you eventually will become food for something else. And that's true. That's true. It's not lofty, but it's reality. It's reality. Jem says, back in the day, they ate meat, potato, vegetable. My mom and grandma, that's when they cooked, had to eat the veggies or couldn't leave the table. Well, that was the thing. You know, nobody wanted to eat the veggies. That's why you had to force it on kids. Instinctively, they knew better. They knew, they knew that those things were not the optimal food. And their instincts caused them to push it away. I don't like the taste. Of course you don't like the taste. Taste is your genetics, your programming's way of telling you that this is something you want to put in your body or you don't. The sense of taste is human beings' first defense against poisoning themselves. Until we invented sugar and different ways to package it. So we've co-opted nature dramatically. We've already co-opted evolution with medicine, modern medicine. We keep inferior examples of the species alive so they can procreate and pass on the bad genetics that made them sick in the first place. That's not how evolution works. And the human race in general is devolving and getting sicker and sicker. The cavemen, 50,000 years ago, physically were in much better shape than we're in. Yeah, they died from infections and gangrene and things like that, but they didn't die from atherosclerosis and diabetes. That's for sure. Yeah, DS111 says their taste buds didn't like it. True. So true. So true. Why don't people like liver? Well, a lot of people do like liver. A lot of people love liver. When I was a kid, my mom made liver and onions, and I enjoyed it. Some of us just don't like the idea of eating what they call offal, OFAL, offal, as organs, any blood and guts. But to a lot of people, and certainly most animals like lions, that's the delicacy. That's the thing you go after. You got to be careful with liver. You got to eat small amounts of it. I don't eat any organ meat whatsoever, and I do okay. But yeah, it's like anything else. There's things I don't like to eat. We're all different. Oh no. I don't know what I do. A mouse never quits except when I'm in the middle of a live stream. So let me get the other mouse. I don't like to use this mouse because it's got the stupid back button on the side, and I end up removing myself from the stream. So if I disappear, you stay in there with me. I'll be right back. But let me go ahead and set this. I have to set this mouse button. I want the right button because I'm using it. It's a right-handed mouse. I'm using it in my left hand. There we go. Okay. I heard my phone go off. Somebody buy me a coffee? I don't think so. Excuse me one second. Yes, Jane bought me a coffee. Hi, Jane. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Jane keeps me a coffee. I appreciate that. And Sam's Club, of course. My 5 times a day email telling me all of the shit that I can't live without, usually of the junk food variety, that I can buy in huge mass quantities by the pallet load. Because you just can't have enough of that crap around the house. There's a Tanya. How you doing, Tanya? Good to see you today. Question, Mitch. I heard you can control the YouTube name thing, but good luck figuring it out. I get so tired of that. I get so tired of trying. I finally figured out how to turn off that stupid ranking system in the chats. You know, number one poster. But they have so many menus and sub-menus and different sections, and it's incredible. You got to watch YouTube videos to figure out how to control some of these things. There may be a switch somewhere, but I got to find it. Lewis is here. Hiya, Lewis. I think we needed a wellness check for Peter. Yeah, what happened to Peter? I guess he wasn't there at Kiltsy. He, where did I see it? I saw him chime in somewhere, past day or two. Hey, he's got himself a bug. I'm sure he's okay. Oh, Gary has a sister, lives in Merritt Island. Yeah, Merritt Island is right here. Right here. It's a long island. It runs all along the coast, and it comes all the way down to Melbourne at the southern end. And goes way up to the northern Brevard County on the other end. And it's got water on both sides of it, so it's a lot of waterfront property. And it's on the way to the Cape. Old Rhodey, do you worry about blood sugar, or is it not a problem? Not a problem for me. Not a problem for me. I've never had a sugar problem. I've been on low-carb diets all my life, with brief periods of binging and killing myself, but not enough to hurt my blood sugar. My A1C is around 5. It goes between 4.9 and 5.1. And I do not worry at all. I don't worry at all about what my morning blood sugar is. If it's 90, it's 90. If it's 80, it's 80. As long as my A1C stays down, I don't eat enough sugar. I hardly eat any sugar or starch. So I don't concern myself with that. A lot of people need to. After a lifetime of eating crap. Doubt about it. There was a question, Carnivore J. Mitch, in your personal, no medical advice, I know, opinion, when was the last time you took an antibiotic? Oh, I got that one already. Okay. Talked about that. Here's another question. Mitch, do you need to take aspirin or anything like that to protect you in case of no stroke? Yes. I don't know if I need to, but it's one of those things where you say to yourself, kind of like iodine. You know, I put a couple drops of iodine in my coffee. Prophylactic. Can't hurt you. I take a little baby aspirin, 81 grain baby aspirin. A precaution. Just about everybody at my age is taking one of those things a day, and it's not causing me any gastrointestinal problems, any ulcer type problems. It's not enough for that. So, I do take it. And that's the only thing. The only concession I made to the medical community and their advice about my stroke was that baby aspirin. That's it. They want to be on statins. They want to be on blood pressure. But my blood pressure is normal. My cholesterol is right where I want it, even though they think I'm going to outlive all the doctors. Like my grandfather outlived the doctor that told him to quit smoking cigars. He outlived all those doctors too. Juliet says, Peter thought it was the flu, but that was a self-diagnosis. He said he's going to the doctor today. Answering Thomas, talking to Thomas. Okay, I'm sure he's okay. I'm sure maybe he got COVID or something. You know, Peter works with the public. He works with the public, and he sees lots of different people through the course of the day. And talks to them face to face, and people like that stand a much greater chance of catching something. Parents of young children that go off to school into that breeding ground of bacteria and disease and sick kids and bring it home. Is one of the reasons I tend to keep to myself is why expose yourself to it if you don't have to? Well, we're doing okay. Got about 10 minutes to go, and I'm keeping busy here. And somebody reminded me that there were questions, and I think I got to them. And I'm 30 minutes behind in this chat, but I'm keeping an eye on the current chat, too. Gary says, Peter's going to start wearing a face diaper to work. You know, I'm watching South Park, the later seasons, because they're on that Paramount Plus subscription that I got. And they're doing the pandemic. They had a couple of shows talking about the pandemic, and they nailed it. Oh, God, it's so funny. But people were wearing the masks under their chin. Their mouth and nose was out in the open. They call them chin diapers. And that's how most of the people were wearing them, as a chin diaper. And they all wore them like it was actually going to help them wearing it like that. Whereas I'm not sure it helps at all, even if it's over your face. Although there must be something to that, because if you got a surgical mask, I don't want my surgeon or my dentist working on me without a mask on. So it's got to have a little bit of protection, but God knows how much it is. Oh, here I was talking about my soup, and Sandy says, sounds delicious. Yeah, it really, really is good. Lori agrees with me. She needs to push the walking again. Yeah, I need to start becoming more active. It's been tough. But I got to do it. And that's why I moved this to 9 o'clock, so that I could get out beforehand and walk. But I haven't done that yet. It's not that hot outside. I can walk after after the live stream, but I can't do it. Go overtime for hours. Here, I think I got this one already. When was the last time you took anybody? Yeah, got that one. Keto Rock Stars. Hi, how you doing? Said, enjoyed your walking video. Great camera work. Yeah, great editing work. The camera is the 360 camera. It just records everything. That's the greatest thing. You're walking around and you're recording like you're inside of a sphere, and anywhere it records the entire world. You don't have to touch the camera. You just turn it on. And then in the editing, you create, and you can move it around like it's 3D. You know, you move it around and zoom in and out and create the scene you want. And you put a marker there. And then you put another marker a little later, and it transitions between the two. And that's how you get the panning and the zooming in and out. You actually have everything that happened around you to choose from when you get home. You can't miss a shot because you're recording everything. It's great way to do any kind of action videos. Even when the action is only some old fart walking along. And I try to make it interesting and use some of that stuff in there, so that's just not another talking head video. And I'm glad when people notice it. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, Leslie says this last week I haven't been able to do my afternoon walks. I'm ready for this cold so I can walk any time of the day when I'm in the mood. Yeah, it's hard to believe that wintertime is around the corner when we just started summer, but time flies. Time flies. Gary, yeah, it was Saturday night when Aaron joined the panel. It was a Saturday night stream. You're correct. They all blend in with me. Laurie says Saturday night. I remember I was talking about that. And let me just see if there's any questions I missed. I don't see any. Well, listen to my friends. Tammy says, why don't people like liver? Got that one already. I haven't eaten liver in years. I used to like it when I was a kid. In fact, we had chopped liver. Being Jewish, chopped liver was the thing. And that was chopped chicken livers. And we had liver knishes, if you know what a knish is. It's like wrapped in pastry. And we had liver knishes. They were my favorite. They were my favorite, and I haven't eaten it since I was a kid. I haven't gone out of my way for it. Maybe I ought to try to make some chopped chicken livers and figure out some way to cook them up. I don't know. I try to get plenty of vitamins from the food I eat anyway. Everybody talk about how much I like liver. Yeah. Pate is good too. Yeah, pate. Some people can't just come to terms with how they produce pate, how they force feed fat to the ducks to fatten up their liver. Kind of cruel, I guess. Patty's here. Hi, Patty. How you doing? All right, catching up here. 9:45. Well, I'll tell you what. Coming up on 10 o'clock. I'm gonna start playing a little bit happy music for you. You can start saying goodbye to your friends in the panel. And we're going to try to keep it to an hour so I don't overdo it. And I'll continue to look for some last minute questions here. And I thank you all for coming today. Thank you very much. Gary, man, you got a great sense of humor, my friend. A 360 camera is about $359 above Rick's budget. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Is Rick still with us? I haven't seen too much from Rick since the beginning. He must be out working. Well, I have caught up. Everybody's saying goodbye. Third girl, bye Mitch, bye y'all. See you tomorrow. Wednesday. See you Wednesday. See you tomorrow night on the private community live stream. 8 o'clock, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday morning for morning coffee again. Thank you, Jem. Thanks for being here. Rick is still here. Okay, good. Good. Well, thanks so much, everybody. You have a great day. I'm I'm going to go out there and get some sun, go for a little walk, and come back and eat my first meal of the day and start picking the little pieces of chicken off all those bones so I can throw them in the soup. So until tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for the private community, and Wednesday morning, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.